The quarterly company mixer at Peterson and Associates was in full swing. The downtown hotel ballroom buzzed with conversation as accountants, lawyers, and consultants mingled over cocktails and appetizers. I stood near the bar with my husband Tom, watching him reconnect with colleagues he rarely saw outside of video conferences. "Sarah, this is my wife Jennifer," Tom said, introducing me to a woman from the tax department. "Jennifer, meet Sarah and her husband Mike from our Boston office." "Lovely to meet you," Jennifer said warmly. "How are you enjoying the evening?" "It's wonderful to put faces to names," I replied. "Tom talks about his colleagues so often." "All good things, I hope," Mike laughed. As our conversation continued, more of Tom's coworkers drifted over to our corner of the ballroom. Soon we had a group of 6 couples chatting about everything from vacation plans to the company's recent expansion. "The workload has been brutal this quarter," complained David Chen from the Seattle office. "I've been pulling 60-hour weeks trying to keep up with client demands." Murmurs of agreement circled the group. "Same here," added Jennifer. "Thank goodness my wife has been handling everything at home." "That's the advantage of having a partner who works flexible hours," Sarah observed. "Mike's schedule is crazy, but at least I can adjust mine to compensate." Tom nodded. "Jennifer's been incredibly supportive during this busy period." "What do you do for work, Jennifer?" asked Lisa Walsh from the Chicago office. Before I could answer, David laughed and took a large sip of his martini. His wife literally does nothing all day. The group burst into laughter, though I noticed some looked uncomfortable with the comment. "David," Tom said quietly, "that's not really fair." "Oh come on, Tom. We've all heard you complain about her sleeping in until noon and spending afternoons at yoga classes." David gestured toward me with his drink. "Some of us wish we had that luxury." "At least our wives contribute something," added Mike with a knowing smirk. "Sarah works part-time at the veterinary clinic. Lisa runs her own catering business." The wives looked embarrassed by their husbands' comments, but the men seemed to be enjoying themselves. "There's nothing wrong with being unemployed," David continued with mock sympathy. "But let's not pretend it's the same as having actual responsibilities." I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app, checking the monthly deposit that had come through that morning. "You're absolutely right about doing nothing," I said sweetly, turning my phone screen toward the group. The laughter died instantly. David's martini glass froze halfway to his lips. What is that?" Lisa whispered, staring at my phone. "My monthly passive income statement," I explained casually. $200,000 this month. Down slightly from last month's $220,000. Mike's face had gone completely white. $200,000. That's my unemployment income, technically, since I don't actively work for it anymore. Jennifer was staring at the screen in shock. Per month. Give or take. The real estate portfolio generates about 60% of that, stock dividends another 30%, and various business investments make up the rest. David set down his martini with a trembling hand. That's impossible." "Which part seems impossible?" I asked, genuinely curious. "You can't make $200,000 a month doing nothing." I scrolled through my investment app, showing the portfolio breakdown. Real estate rental income from 4 to 7 properties, dividend payments from my stock holdings, and returns from my silent partnerships in various businesses. Sarah was frantically trying to do math in her head. 4 to 7 properties. Mostly residential rentals, though I own a few commercial buildings too. The property management company handles day-to-day operations. Tom was staring at me with a mixture of pride and amazement. "Jennifer, I had no idea the portfolio had grown this large." "The compound growth really accelerated over the past 2 years," I explained. "Reinvesting the passive income into additional properties creates a snowball effect." Mike found his voice at last. "How long have you been building this empire?" "About 8 years. I started with 1 rental property after college and kept reinvesting the profits into additional real estate. 1 property to 4 to 7 properties in 8 years. Lisa's voice was barely a whisper. The first few years were slow, but once you understand market timing and leverage, the growth accelerates exponentially. David was reading something on his own phone. "Jennifer, I'm looking up property values in our area. if you own 47 rental properties. The portfolio is valued at approximately $32 million, I said simply. Though that fluctuates with market conditions. The silence that followed was profound. Every person in our circle was staring at me with varying degrees of shock and disbelief. 32 million, Jennifer repeated numbly. Plus the stock portfolio, which adds another 18 million or so. And the business investments, though those are harder to value precisely. Tom was beaming with pride now. This is why I never worry about Jennifer sleeping in or going to yoga. She's earned the right to relax. Earned it. David croaked. When you're generating $200,000 a month in passive income, you don't exactly need to punch a time clock, Tom explained. Sarah was still processing the information. So when we were talking about contributing something, I contribute about $2.5 million annually to our household income, I said gently. Though I understand the confusion about my daily schedule. Mike looked mortified. Jennifer, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. Of course you didn't. You never asked what I did before assuming I was unemployed. Lisa leaned forward eagerly. How did you learn about real estate investing? Did you study finance? Psychology major, actually. But I read everything I could about real estate and attended investor meetups until I understood the fundamentals. 47 properties. David was still marveling. The management alone must be overwhelming. That's why I use professional property management companies. They handle tenant relations, maintenance, rent collection, everything. I mostly focus on acquisition strategy and portfolio optimization. Jennifer was looking at me with new respect. So your typical day involves market research, financial analysis, maybe viewing potential properties to acquire. Some days I don't have anything urgent, so I go to yoga or sleep in. I smiled. The beauty of passive income is that it comes in whether I'm working or not. As the evening continued, our conversation shifted dramatically. Instead of mocking my unemployment, Tom's coworkers peppered me with questions about real estate investing, market trends, and wealth-building strategies. Could you walk us through your first property purchase? Mike asked eagerly. I bought a small duplex for $80,000 with a conventional mortgage. Lived in one side, rented out the other to cover most of the payment. And then? Sarah prompted. Saved the rental income for 2 years, then used it as a down payment on a second property. Repeated the process, reinvesting profits each time. David was taking notes on his phone. What about property management? When did you start using companies instead of doing it yourself? Around property number 6. The time commitment was interfering with my ability to find and analyze new deals. As we were saying our goodbyes, David approached me privately. Jennifer, I owe you a massive apology. The things I said about doing nothing. David, you made reasonable assumptions based on limited information. No, I made assumptions based on stereotypes. There's a difference. I appreciate the apology. Can I ask you something? When I said you literally do nothing all day, what were you thinking? I was thinking about whether to show you my income statements or just let you keep talking. What made you decide to show them? When Mike said at least their wives contribute something, I figured it was time to clarify exactly how much I contribute. During the drive back to our hotel, Tom was unusually reflective. I should have shut down those comments earlier, he said. David's jokes about you being unemployed. You did try to redirect the conversation. Not hard enough. I know how hard you've worked to build that portfolio, and I let them mock it. I reached over and squeezed his hand. Tom, I don't need you to defend my success. The numbers speak for themselves. $50 million in assets, Jennifer. And they thought you were some lazy housewife. Technically, I am unemployed. I just happen to be unemployed with excellent passive income streams. There's a difference between unemployed and financially independent. True. Though I have to admit, I enjoy the look on people's faces when they realize that doing nothing can be quite lucrative. The next week, I received emails from 3 of Tom's coworkers asking for real estate investment advice. David requested a phone call to discuss his retirement planning. And Mike sent a formal apology along with questions about property management companies. Sometimes the best response to assumptions about unemployment is simply showing them your monthly income statement.